Someone asked me about how people were saved under different dispensations. And in one sense, people are saved by grace through faith, no matter what the dispensation is. But as far as what they must do to be saved is something altogether distinct. When I say dispensation, I mean the time from Adam to Moses, where there was no written law of God, and what was revealed to individuals or groups at this time is not exactly clearly stated. And I think that's the state of the Gentile world outside of the law of Moses, which was given only to Israel. All we really have are different examples of people receiving instructions from God, people trusting in God and doing what God would have them to do. So when I say by grace through faith, faith is that trust and obedience and a continued faithfulness to God. By grace through faith is really no different under the Mosaic dispensation. They just had a wider understanding of God's will and what sin was. But they were not saved solely by their obedience to that law. They were saved by grace through trust and obedience and continued faithfulness to God. And I hate to speculate, but I've gone so far as to say in the past we see a pattern of belief and repentance and confession of faith in God as being something we see throughout the history of Israel. Though many of the Israelites were born into the covenant, circumcised on the 8th day, and like I said, maybe they obeyed the law, maybe they didn't, but without this grace and faith, without their trust and obedience, how did they come into a saving relationship with God? Perhaps by belief, repentance, and confession. But since the resurrection of Christ and day of Pentecost, we have no distinction between entering into a covenant with God, the new covenant, entering into a saving relationship with God. It is belief, repentance, confession, and being baptized into Christ, coming into his body, his kingdom, his church. And that's the way people will be saved until he returns to judge the righteous, the wicked, the living, and the dead. It's always been by faith, but faith can speak of different instructions from God, the will of God revealed in different measures, in different ways, and at different times. So in a sense, salvation has always been by grace through faith, and ultimately faithfulness is required. But there are distinctions as far as how one enters into a relationship with God.